So what then will be the impact on the UK travel industry? Let us now catch up with a regular on the programme, Julia Bue-Said, Chief Executive of the Advantage Travel Partnership. Always welcome, Julia. Good morning.
Morning, Lisa. How are you?
I'm very well, and you must be even better. Surely this is yet another welcome boost then for travel operators here and our aviation sector.
Absolutely. It's certainly a step in the right direction, particularly when you think of where the journey we've been on, where we've come from, the fact that families and travellers from the 24th of October can re-enter the UK by just taking a lateral flow test is a step in the right direction for sure.
Give us a sense then, what will testing look like in practice for those holidaymakers at that point in time? It is the half-term break, of course. What sorts of cost savings can travellers look forward to?
OK, so in terms of cost savings, it's really not as huge as it's really made out to be. So the difference nowadays between PCR and lateral flow is around £15 per person. So, of course, every pound matters, every pound makes a difference, but it's not as extortionate as you would be led to believe. So I think what is different is actually there is a little bit less hassle. There's still a bit of hassle because you do need to pre-book these tests. You need to make sure before you return into the UK, you've completed your booking and you've put that booking reference on your passenger locator form. That's a document we all need to complete when we re-enter the UK now. And actually, that's probably the most difficult part. And anyone that's travelled during the pandemic, once you've done it once, you kind of get practiced into doing it. It's not really that difficult. Once you return back home, you need to have your test ready, do your test within 2 days. And that's it. You just need to be able to send a photograph of the test showing that it is negative. If it is positive, then you go to the NHS site to do a PCR test for free. But the lateral flow tests, just to confirm, they are the private ones. You have to buy those. You cannot use the lateral flow devices that we've got used to having from the NHS.
Yes, indeed. Travellers will have to do the test at home and send a photo, indeed, to their private provider. Well, the Transport Secretary, Julia, Grant Shapps, has been doing the media rounds already this morning. For the benefit of our listeners, I think he makes a really good point. Let's just have a listen. He admits the way of checking these results, though, are going to be very much based on trust.
Of course, the system requires people to be honest. Like so many laws in this country, we ask people not to do things and put societal restrictions on people, and then we don't have a policeman on every corner in every home to make sure people aren't breaking the laws, of course.
Good point.
Yeah, it's a good point, but it's no different to how it is now. And I think it's a little bit disingenuous for our Transport Secretary to put the onus on people. The system is still very complex. Compliance, in our experience, is not the issue. The issue really is that we have a very complex system. But the system we have in place still today with the day 2 PCR test, it relies on trust. There isn't a vigilator standing at the corner making sure that you post your test, that you do your test. So it's exactly the same. So I think what we really do need is for the system to be less complicated. Testing ultimately for vaccinated travellers needs to go. We are one of the only countries in Europe that still has this requirement for our vaccinated travellers. So the less complicated we can make it, the easier it will be to kind of really restart travel in a safe manner.
And on that note, have you seen any firm evidence yet then, or perhaps it's a bit too early actually with the announcement just coming, of a boost to bookings as a result? You know, is the change likely to prompt lots and lots of calls, pre-half-term, lots of bookings, and which are indeed likely to be the hotspot winter sun destinations?
Yeah, really good point. I think on the half-term break, unfortunately for a lot of places around the UK, in the Midlands, Scotland, they've missed this because half-term's already starting next week. So not every family is going to be able to benefit from this, but the vast majority outside of that will be able to. We've certainly seen an increase in inquiries and bookings coming through over the last couple of weeks. And let's not forget this week, we saw big changes coming through from the red list on Monday. So that ultimately was a really big change. And the week before, the pre-departure test, that was a test we had to take before we travelled back to the UK. That was the big boost for the industry. We're seeing a lot more confidence, Lisa, in the market, a lot of more people now saying, I've had enough, winter's drawing in, I want to get away, I need some nice weather. And also for a lot of families that have been separated around the world, they've now got the opportunity to reunite. So I think people have had enough and they just want to get on with their lives, and travel's a big part of that.
Indeed, I even was brave enough to make it over to Greece and back quite successfully recently. Just a final aside when it comes to destinations. There's a nice quote actually from, and a good point being made, for example, from tourism industry workers in Mauritius. They are very much, for example, urging UK holidaymakers to return to the island after being left, they say, fighting for jobs. During the pandemic, the Indian Ocean island allowed travellers to return from the 1st of October. Many islanders describing the tourism industry as essential for them to survive. Well, many islands like that and many others have suffered so badly, haven't they?
Oh, they really have. I mean, not only has the UK travel industry over here that sells holidays to those destinations suffered, but yeah, the tours of the islands that rely so heavily on tourism have really been devastated. And it's worth on that point, Lisa, just remembering that whilst the UK government have made these rules, what we also must make sure we're doing is checking the destination rules, because just because they are not on the red list, it doesn't mean they're allowing entry. So that's a really important point to remember also.
Such a good point. Greece, for example, when I went, was really, really strict over there, far, far stricter than we here. All right, Julia, always good to catch up with you and get the lowdown on the latest changes and what it means, the impact on our holidaymakers. Julia Bue-Said there, Chief Executive of the Advantage Travel Partnership.